A high-level delegation of 24 senior officials from United Nations regional offices across Africa arrived in Asmara on 24 January 2022 for a week-long working tour. The high-level mission to Eritrea, led by the UN Development Coordination Office's Regional Director for Africa, included 5 other regional directors, representing the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, UN Economic Commission for Africa, UN Office on Drugs and Crime, UN Population Fund, and the World Food Programme. On January 25, the government of the State of Eritrea and the United Nations held a new era of strategic partnership that will advance their shared aspirations for the people of Eritrea with the launch of the new Eritrea UN Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework 2022 to 2026 at the Denton Hall in Asmara.
We are a member of United Nations. We play our role in United Nations. And as a member of United Nations, we have the right to cooperate, particularly on development areas, on different sectors. And in the past 30 years, as members of United Nations, we've been cooperating with United Nations. We've been implementing programs and projects. For the last 5 years, we've been implementing the cooperation framework. Now that we are closing that cooperation framework and opening a new cooperation framework for the coming 5 years.
The cooperation framework between the State of Eritrea and the United Nations.
Speaking on behalf of the delegation, Mr. Jacob El-Hilo, Regional Director for Africa and the UN Development Coordination Office, extended the UN's appreciation to the government of the State of Eritrea for its active leadership throughout the development of the new framework, which adopted a whole-of-government approach, leading to a robust document that reflects both government priorities and the SDGs.
It's a partnership between the United Nations agencies in Eritrea and the government and the people of Eritrea. Now this partnership is to cooperate, as it's called, cooperation framework, with the people of Eritrea and the government in their quest for development, in their quest for improving the quality of life and well-being of their people.
The perceptions that I'm leaving with is that there is trust. The government of the State of Eritrea very much values the partnership with the United Nations system and looks forward to working more with the United Nations in rolling out, in implementing the cooperation framework and investing in certain sectors that are actually highlighted in the framework itself.
Speaking during the launch of the cooperation framework the same day, Minister of Finance and National Development, Mr. Gergish Mikhail, shared on the historical context of Eritrea, which has informed its development trajectory.
With Minister Georgis, Minister of Finance and National Development, we marked an important milestone. We were able to launch a cooperation framework which defines what I would call a new era of partnership with the government of the State of Eritrea for the next 5 years.
We had a very successful launch. We have a very good discussion with authorities in these countries, really articulating very well the vision of this country, the approach of this country to development, what are also the expectations in this very cooperation framework. So I think we have achieved our objective in coming to this mission.
The new UN Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework comprises of 4 outcomes for implementation by the end of 2026.
So this cooperation framework is robust in the nature in which it is aligned to the national priorities. In developing it, we were very much guided by the National Charter. We were also very much guided by priorities that were presented to us by the government across a range of sectors. We were also guided, and there was no difference whatsoever with the strategic development goals. So it's an exciting document that has 4 pillars of support. One pillar which looks at essential quality basic services. very important. Another pillar which looks at capacity development, strengthening capacity across government on the request of government. A third pillar which has its focus on the mainstay of the economy in Eritrea, agriculture, but recognizing we need to move beyond agriculture to look at diversified livelihoods. And a fourth pillar, which we would summarize as being the climate action pillar, where we are also venturing into an exciting area with government, particularly around renewable energy.
It has demonstrated the possibilities of cooperation, and signing this cooperation framework is actually a groundbreaking one, where it is the government taking the lead and the UN, we are coming in to say how and where can we do our best in terms of our partnership. And what we have seen, both private and public institutions, is an example of resilience in this country. And it is upon us as the UN to reinforce that resilience and be accountable to the community. And I saw community engagement, which is fantastic. And that's the only thing we can make a difference, especially supporting the institutions of the government, which are at lower level, doing the best with the little resources, but really producing the desired results. And that's our contribution as the UN. Really a great opportunity to be out there.
During the 5-day mission, the UN officials discussed a wide range of issues with government and development partners. These included fully utilizing the UN's resources to ensure optimal delivery in the new cooperation framework's priority areas: COVID-19 vaccinations, regional dynamics in the Horn of Africa, and the role Eritrea could play in fostering peace and security, regional trade integration, and Eritrea's perspectives on the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, human rights issues, climate action, and data for development.
I'm very optimistic. We have discussed with a number of the key ministries, and in fact we've been asked to put forward a short proposal at a high level outlining specifically the areas that we could engage with the government, and they will then reflect upon that, indicate specifically what they would like us to do, and then we will start a dialogue to refine that. We are optimistic, as I say.
We went to the field, we saw the work being done, we saw the commitment of the people of Eritrea to improve the well-being and quality of life of their people. So from our perspective, I think there is room for dialogue, for engagement, and at the end of the day, really, we want to improve the quality of life and the well-being of the people. And I think the government is committed to that. And as partners, we should engage, we should partner and achieve these targets and these goals.
On 27 January, the delegation traveled to the Dabub region of Eritrea, where they met with regional government partners and communities. The visit included key institutions such as the National Agricultural Research Institute, the Mendefera Hospital, which hosts the National Fistula Treatment Center, the National Union of Eritrean Youth and Students Zoba Dabub branch, the Dwarwa and Araza Community Health Center, Araza Solar Photovoltaic Grid, the Aziab Dairy Farm, Logo and Misalam Dams.
One of the areas that we have discussed at length with the government of the State of Eritrea, which actually holds a lot of promises, particularly in view of COP27, which is going to be a very much an African COP focused on climate change adaptation, is the issue of investment in renewable energy and writ large on climate action. The government of Eritrea, together with, in partnership with UNDP, and also with the support of the European Union, has invested in a huge, a very large project in Areza on solar energy, renewable energy, which is providing access to energy, clean energy and affordable energy to more than 30,000 households, 2 large towns and 40 villages. this is just an example of what the partnership with the government can deliver shared prosperity, deliver progress all across the SDG, to also show to the world that Eritrea is a champion and is championing the climate action in Africa, is providing also access to renewable and affordable energy to its people to change their lives and leave no one behind.
There is something magical about coming to Eritrea. And yes, we've moved around. And I have to tell you, from speaking to them, they are blown away. I don't know how else to put it. Today in Mandefera, we've been to a health facility, the referral hospital. We looked at the data. We were able to see, in terms of baseline, how far this country has moved on various health indicators from about 1996 to date. And the figures are phenomenal. The figures are, I would say, unparalleled in Africa. The figures even compete with the developed world. When you look at challenges of what we call the big diseases in Africa, you're talking about pre-elimination here. Pre-elimination of malaria, pre-elimination of mother-to-child transmission of HIV, for example. Huge progress on things like tuberculosis. And so to hear that we are doing pretty well with the infectious diseases, now we are looking at non-communicable diseases. I just feel these stories are not being told enough. But the exciting thing is you now have a critical mass, 25 people representing different agencies who are coming away with a different impression, evidence-based, with data about what Eritrea is about and the stories that are untold.
To show the results, the achievement that Eritrea has been able to show, to demonstrate in saving children's lives, saving mothers' lives, and really showing that the drivers of success, as the regional health advisor or regional health officer said, there are three. He mentioned the community approach, the engagement to communities, the outreach services. Number two, political commitment. The government is engaged and ensures that supplies, equipment, human resource, medicines are available. And then finally, he said the partnership. He mentioned this partnership between partners such as the UN, the government, and the people of Eritrea. Those are the drivers for success, for the results that Eritrea has achieved in health. They are very impressive.
Members of the visiting mission were unanimous in their view that they had gained a better understanding of Eritrea's context, its unique development perspectives, and Eritrea's expectations of a reinvigorated partnership with the UN in this new era of cooperation.
It was an eye-opener. This is my first time in Eritrea, and for me to see the landscape, the people, the way the city, particularly Asmara, the heritage area, is remarkable to see. Something that is well kept, preserved, and ensuring that development is done in those areas in a sensitive manner in the cultural context. And I also, my visit to the ministry, I was able to see how the interventions that we've done some years back in developing the urban development policy is still being used and still managing development. Whilst on our trip, I was able to see the countryside, the intervention, the agricultural developments, the big infrastructure works that they've done, and the expertise, the local expertise that has gone into development there is remarkable and exemplary.
The level of capacity of the people of Eritrea, this is something that has impressed me quite a lot, and by the opportunities of this country in terms of tourism, in terms of investing in climate action, in terms of economic investments, private sector dynamism. We have, for example, visited one of the cheese factories on our way back from our field trip, and I've been impressed by the level of capacity, by the technology that has been invested. So there's, to me, sort of it shows that there is space, there are opportunities for many more investments.
Eritrea's approach is unique, and we have learned so many best practices from the country that are shared with other countries. So we know that Eritrea has been making lots and lots of progress in especially in the control of communicable diseases, in reduction of child and infant mortality, and in the reduction of maternal mortality through commitment and dedication of the Minister of Health, the participation of the communities, the support of the partners. The country has really made so much progress.
Very hospitable people, very people that are keen on self-determination, people that want to home grow their development, people that want to live a prosperous life just like other people elsewhere, people that are keen for inclusivity, that they do not want to leave anyone behind, be it for social services, be it economically. That is the impression I've gotten of Eritrea, and I think it is a pathway for self-determination.
I'm delighted to be back, in fact. This is not my first visit. I first came in 1996. So I'm coming back to somewhere that I have a strong affinity for. The people, as I remember, very open, very warm. Asmara, as you can imagine, for an outsider, is a magical town, a magical city, and get a better sense of the landscapes and what the particular needs are in many of these locations. That we saw some very good projects. We saw the potential, and it's now for us as development partners, and particularly as the UN, to come in and to support where the government wants to see that type of support.
I'm excited. I'm really excited, and particularly excited that our leadership, our regional directors are in the country, not just to witness the signing of this important cooperation framework, but to also take the time to leave Asmara and go outside Asmara to get a sense of what this will feel like and what it looks like in the field.
The government, in turn, agreed to address resource absorption issues and to scale up the implementation of programs in the new cooperation framework era, in line with the call for accelerated progress in the decade of action, with 8 years left to achieve the SDGs.
As the UN, we need to understand better and change the narrative about Eritrea as a country where the government is investing in improving the quality of life and the well-being. And we need to engage more, we need to dialogue and try to partner better and improve that image, and then encourage development and improve everything.
You guys, you told us, listen, listen, listen. And by listening, our colleagues from the regional offices, they've also changed their view of Eritrea. They're looking at Eritrea as a country of opportunities and possibilities. And it's not about asking for information, but asking Eritreans, how is this information being used, and what support do you need from us to make the use of what you need? That's really what they've also observed, and I'm happy they're looking at that coming from the Eritreans.
We have seen it with our eyes, and it was actually very good to interact with the government of the State of Eritrea, because for ourselves now we can say we understand far more, and we understand what the true narrative is. The United Nations is a partner, is a trusted partner. UNDP is part of the United Nations family and looks forward to continuing working with the government of the State of Eritrea, also to help change this narrative. There is an opportunity. The SDGs offer an immense range of opportunities to show that Eritrea can champion the SDGs, and particularly the issue of the principle of leave no one behind. The state of Eritrea is very much committed to social justice. We could feel and we could understand the genuinity of this commitment. Eritrea is really walking the talk. It's really committed to the principle of leaving no one behind. This is something the United Nations can help communicate. The participation of Eritrea in the high-level political forum this July and the presentation of its voluntary national review report, it's an important moment where these stories, Eritrea championing women and gender equality, Eritrea championing climate action, access to renewable energy, and Eritrea championing the principle of leaving no one behind is our messages that can be shared in that context. And of course, UNDP stands ready to support the government in sharing these messages and the good stories behind this.
We always say in this country, the people and the government of Eritrea are the ones who design the policies and the project programs. And the government and the people of the Eritrea are the ones who put their most in terms of financing projects in the country. We will continue being like that. But we are also part and parcel of this world. We are part and parcel of the international community. We will contribute ours, and we will engage, and we will benefit from the experience, expertise, and finance which can be offered from others.
For me personally and my colleagues, what I expect to see is scale. Really impacting as many Eritreans as possible, working across government with the coordination of the Ministry of Finance and National Development with a new ambition to pick up the pace, a new ambition to scale up, a new ambition to go into priority sectors, investments, priority infrastructure, and to really be able to look back and be collectively proud that in the partnership with government, we were able to achieve a lot for this country. So I'm excited. So as the regional director said, Yakub Ali El Hilo, now the work begins. Now the work begins. It doesn't mean we haven't been doing anything, but like I said, scale, ambition, impact for people.